Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and today I have got for you the perfect, best possible team for Gameweek 37. So whether you're on a free hit or just looking to build a really nice team for the big double game week, hopefully we've got you covered today. If you do enjoy this one, please do drop a like, do subscribe if you're new around here, but let's have a look at this team. Alright guys, so I've spent 98.5 million on this team, so plenty of money in the bank to potentially make some upgrades. We're going to talk about alternatives at the end of the video as well and different other players you could pick. And I should also say guys, I have made this team today with it being what I genuinely believe to be the best team for this game week. These are the players who I think will score the highest points for this game week, and I've not really paid too much attention to safety, so there will be a couple of risky and differential punts in here, but these are all players that I'm actually pretty confident in. So let's start off in goal, because I do really want to get this one out of the way, and it's Alisson on screen right now guys, and honestly, picking a goalkeeper for Game Week 37 is impossible. It really is so hard, and a lot of people have been asking me this week, which goalkeeper should I be going for right now? I'm not really sure. Well, to me, the best goalkeeper is De Gea. For the next 2 game weeks, the final 2 game weeks, including this one, De Gea is the best goalkeeper to have in your FPL team. However, if you have, a free hit, or, you already have certain other Man United players in your team, and you don't want to move these around too much, why would you go for De Gea? The upside is elsewhere. There are players who are more likely to score more points than De Gea. So it's a little bit of a waste of a Manchester United slot. So where do you go, therefore? Well, I mean, it's very difficult. We've got players like Ederson, who I don't think is nailed on for 2 games. I think he'll be rotated after Man City win the league against Chelsea, probably. I think we've got the Kepa a situation. I think there's going to be rotation there as well. Wouldn't be going for Steele right now. I think there's other better options at Brighton with higher upside. Again, where do you go? You could go for Ramsdale, playing against Nottingham Forest. But Nottingham Forest, when they play at home, they tend to score goals, and Arsenal haven't exactly been convincing recently. We've got Sarr, who plays for Wolves, but again, I don't really know if Wolves are really a team that we're super comfortable with. We've got Pope, who plays against Leicester, but Newcastle seem to concede a goal every game. Where do we go for goalkeepers? I don't know. It pretty much doesn't matter, I would say. Just pick any goalkeeper you want, pretty much. I've gone for Alisson in this team because I feel like Liverpool have improved their defence recently, and Alisson is prone to making a couple of saves as well whenever he plays. He's a very good goalkeeper. We know this very well. So, honestly, guys, for goalkeepers, if you are needing to make a transfer this week, De Gea might be the obvious answer to your goalkeeper problems. If he's not, I don't think it really matters, to be honest. I think, focus your attention on other positions on the pitch, because the goalkeeper situation this week is just so up in the air. But anyway, we've got Alisson in goal. Let's move on into defence. We've got Luke Shaw, and this is a Manchester United defender I can get behind, and I'd much rather have Luke Shaw in my team than De Gea. If that's not going to be possible for you, fair enough, but if I had to choose, it would be Luke Shaw. So Luke Shaw is on set pieces. He is driving forward now. He's back into that left-back position. Manchester United, a team keeping a decent amount of clean sheets recently as well. We've got Bournemouth and Chelsea, 2 teams that don't always score a whole load of goals. And Manchester United, with the clean sheets they've been keeping recently, Bournemouth didn't score last game. Chelsea, both Bournemouth and Chelsea on the beach probably will not be kind of going at it too hard. Manchester United with still a lot to play for. Low-scoring games a lot from Manchester United at the moment as well. So they might have to keep things tight at the back. I think we could get clean sheets in this one, and I think we could also get attacking returns from Luke Shaw with him playing a little bit further up the pitch at the moment. We've got Pervis Estupiñán up next, who obviously had some heroics so far in Game Week 36 that I'm sure Estupiñán owners are celebrating wildly. Arsenal fans, maybe not so much. But anyway, Man City and Southampton are the 2 fixtures. This Southampton game in particular is a really good opportunity for Brighton players, because Southampton are done. They're relegated, and I don't think that Brighton will be too worried about that team. Get the 3 points, probably keep a clean sheet there as well. And the second game against Man City, again, a really good situation for our Brighton guys, because Man City are a team that are probably going to have won the title by then, going to rotate their team very heavily, and is going to be a really good opportunity for players like Pervis Estupiñán. I'm not saying we're going to get a clean sheet in that second game for our Brighton defenders, but at the same time, maybe an attacking return in there. I would not be surprised if Man City conceded in the second game, but maybe we're betting for that and against that, because I have got Diaz in as my final defender in this team, and this is really difficult. I'm not fully convinced by this one myself, if I'm totally honest. I feel like if you're looking for a Man City player who's going to get both fixtures, I think that's going to be very difficult to find. But I feel like defenders may be one of your better bets in that regard because, you know, there's only so many defenders available for Manchester City at the moment. Diaz seems to be playing most games. There are a couple of other suggestions that I've got as well we'll talk about briefly but in a few minutes. But yeah, Diaz maybe is the guy to go for if you're trying to just get a defender who's going to play both fixtures, maybe get some clean sheets in here. Man City have been putting up some really good underlying defensive numbers, and we have seen the odd clean sheet from them as well over recent game weeks. So if you do get some clean sheets from Man City, you're probably going to be pretty pleased with that. Against Chelsea in particular, maybe just looking to get that game won, you know, by a small margin. If that's the case, then maybe we're going to get a clean sheet there, keep things locked down defensively for Man City so they can win the Premier League. Maybe Diaz is going to be involved in that. I imagine he will play against Chelsea. It's just a case of whether he's then going to play against Brighton. But I do think going for a defender this week, Diaz is probably your best bet in terms of minutes. Into midfield, we've got Bruno Fernandes, who I really think is a superb pick for this game week. Those of you guys who watched my buy, sell, keep, avoid video yesterday will know that Bruno's numbers at the moment, his underlying numbers are phenomenal. They're absolutely insane, and I love this double game week. Bournemouth, who concede loads of goals. Chelsea, who more recently are conceding more goals than ever. They're not such a strong defence as they once were, are Chelsea. They are conceding. And Manchester United, with so much to play for against two beached teams, this is very, very good for Bruno Fernandes. On penalties as well, so you'll always have that chance of getting that jammy penalty goal in there to get you a few extra points there. His creativity is off the charts, and I think it's going to be a really, really interesting game week for Fernandes owners. We've got Marcus Rashford up next, who I know a lot of people have, unfortunately, already sold. However, today, we did get the news that Marcus Rashford is back in training, and Manchester United fans, you'll probably know this more than anyone else, but if Rashford is even 10% fit, 10% available, he will 100% play the game. These are so important games for Manchester United, and Rashford, if he's in training, he's going to play the games of football. So a double game week for Marcus Rashford against Bournemouth and Chelsea. You know, if I told you about that a couple of months ago, you would be licking your lips at this opportunity. So despite the fact Rashford is currently flagged, I am still very confident that he will start in both games at this present moment. Maybe we'll get more information as the week goes by if we see press conferences and things like that. But at this exact moment, really confident about Rashford. So yeah, he would absolutely be in my current draft for a free hit. If I had him already, there is no way I'll be selling him whatsoever. And if I'd already sold him this game week, if I'd gone a little bit early on that bad boy, then I would be seriously considering bringing him back, but wait for more information. But yeah, Rashford, you know, definitely going to be in the best possible 11 for Game Week 37. He's just got better numbers than pretty much everyone else other than Fernandes in the Manchester United team, and, you know, that's probably says everything. Next up, we've got McAllister. So yeah, McAllister in the team, another penalty player, penalty merchants. They're always good to have in your FPL team. We've seen a lot of good penalties kind of helping us out in FPL recently, haven't we? So they're always very helpful. And as I say earlier, guys, this Southampton game, real opportunity for some points, and that Man City game is not as bad as it looks as well, because Man City will probably have won the league by that point. Another good thing about McAllister is with March out, and Ciso has been moved out to the right-hand side, and McAllister is playing as an attacking midfielder once again. So we've got the likes of Gross, Caicedo, Gilmore. Those guys can fill in the defensive midfield positions, and McAllister can play in that advanced position where he was looking so good earlier on in the season, maybe a month or so ago. So McAllister back in his best position on some of those set pieces, taking penalties as well, getting those chances in the box. What is not to love? Got to be in your team, guys. Next up, we've got Mahrez. So I'm going to throw in Mahrez in here next, which I think is a bit of an interesting one. I know most people will be looking to go for Gundogan, but I do actually think Mahrez is probably a little bit more nailed on than Gundogan at the moment. Mahrez seems to be the Premier League guy at the moment, whereas previously he was the Champions League guy. Things seem to have changed. Mahrez, not only that, he's got slightly better numbers if you exclude Gundogan's missed penalty, because let's be honest, Gundogan is not going to be taking any more penalties this season, I don't think. But Mahrez certainly, if you compare the two of the players' numbers, Mahrez is looking a little bit better at the moment, and I just trust Mahrez a little bit more in the long term. I'm aware that Gundogan is a little bit streaky sometimes, but he's overperforming by so much that I do worry a little bit. Mahrez, on the other hand, staying a little bit more true to his numbers, overperforming on his expected assists, but he's also passing to, you know, the likes of Erling Holland, who is a phenomenal kind of attacker there. We could see that Mahrez takes some free kicks and penalties as well. When Holland is not on the pitch, Mahrez will be the guy on penalties, which is very nice to think about as well. So overall, I like Mahrez a little bit more than I like Gundogan, but that's not to say Gundogan is a bad bad pick. And we're going to finish this midfield off with Mo Salah, which I don't think he's an essential pick for this game week, but he's still a pretty good one, and you kind of have to trust him. If you've got a bit of money burning, you know, you may as well have Salah in your free hit team. And if you've already got Salah in your Game Week 37 team, you know, you're just making your transfers and you've already got Salah, would I be selling him? Probably not, and here's why. So Salah, I have noticed recently, is when he's playing against a low block, he is struggling a little bit to generate XG and has depended a little bit on penalties to score those goals. His creativity is still absolutely fine, don't get me wrong on that one, but on the other hand, when he's playing on the counter-attack, he looks like the most dangerous man on the pitch at all times. Now, Aston Villa, we've noticed, have been playing with a really, really high line, like a dangerously high line. And you do imagine a player like Salah, with the attacking intelligence that he has to run on the counter-attack, to really take advantage of that. And although the offside trap has been working quite well for Aston Villa so far, they play this super high-risk game. And I think the Salah could actually do some damage. And once the first or second goal has been scored against Aston Villa, you know, we could see them completely collapse, and at that point, Salah is on for a mega haul. So I do feel like Salah is still a good pick, despite the fact that this is a kind of a not such a great fixture on paper. I just kind of like this matchup a little bit, so I would be looking to keep Salah if I had him, and I would not be looking to switch him to Bruno Fernandes. I'd try and find another way to get a player like Bruno Fernandes or Mahrez or whoever else into your team without sacrificing Salah if possible. Plus, at the same time, Salah is a player who is so popular in FPL, you are pretty safe. If you go for a player like him, you cover yourself, you protect yourself from all of the other Salah owners that will be ready to destroy you if he scores very well. Moving up front, guys, we've got Erling Haaland. Super, super obvious. I mean, if there's any player who's going to get played twice in the Premier League, it's maybe going to be Erling Haaland. I don't know. He just seems to be rotation proof. And I know we keep saying, we say this so often, don't we, guys? Oh, yeah, this is going to be the week he gets rested. This is going to be the week he plays, you know, significantly less minutes. And it never happens. It absolutely never happens. It hasn't happened all season. There's no real reason for it to start now. So I think Erling Haaland is a pretty safe pick for Game Week 37. Would not be looking to sell him. I would not be betting on him missing either of these fixtures. You know, with pretty much certainty he's going to be playing against Chelsea. And then after that, he's got a real good chance of playing against Brighton as well. So, yeah, pretty much a must-have for Game Week 37, isn't he? I'm going to finish off with a bit of a controversial one, and that is Enciso. And I would say that he's the biggest differential, most controversial player in this entire team, because you will have noticed, guys, there is no Kaoru Mitoma in this team. And I know a lot of people will be kind of feel a little bit uncomfortable with that. They might want to play a little bit safer. They might want to go for Kaoru Mitoma and play safe with the most popular Brighton players. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, the player that I think is going to make a big difference this week, potentially, is Enciso. Julio Enciso, to me, when I've been watching Brighton, when I've been analysing the numbers, has genuinely seems to be the best attacking player for Brighton right now. The primary goal threat in that team, now pretty much nailed on for minutes now that March is out. So that's going to be a real advantage. You might have seen him against Arsenal. He was the guy taking all of the shots against Arsenal. And in previous game weeks as well, we've seen him look really dangerous. We were always worried previously about whether he'd get rotated a little bit. He can't get rotated. He is the March replacement in this Brighton starting 11. So he's going to be playing against Southampton. He's going to get loads of opportunities to score. Could be on for a mega one. Whereas Kaoru Mitoma's numbers have looked a little bit worrying recently. I don't think either player is more rotation risk than the other. I think either one could drop out the team, but both unlikely to happen, I guess. I think this could be a really, really interesting one. I know it's controversial, and fair enough if you don't like this one. I completely understand why people would not be willing to take the risk on Enciso. But if I had a choice for my third, I guess, Brighton player for this game week, it would be Enciso. That is who I would go for, and I'll make no secret of that whatsoever. And let's go on to the bench, guys. We've got Forster as our backup goalkeeper, 3.9 million, plays for Spurs. He's nailed on for Spurs now in goal as well. Plays against Brentford. It's not such a bad situation for a cheap goalkeeper. I've got Thiago Silva in here. I don't really fancy any Chelsea players for this game week, to be honest, and you may have noticed that. But it's two bad fixtures. Man United away, Man City away, and I don't know if there's any super nailed on players for Chelsea anyway. Thiago Silva may be the most nailed on defender potentially there now that he's back fit, but we could see a bit of rotation for Chelsea anyway. They're on the beach. They are just waiting for the new season to start. They don't care anymore, and I don't think the fans really care anymore for this season either. Just ready to go for the next one. We've got Totti here against Everton at home. Wolves seem to do pretty well at home, so, you know, actually might low-key be a pretty good pick. And we've got Greenwood here as well. Sam Greenwood, just the super cheap 4 million forward to just save a little bit of money, I guess. But, you know, if I was to go for one other cheap kind of forward to maybe have as a backup option, I think about Brian Mbeumo playing against Spurs. I think there's a potential cheap forward that could do okay. Yes, but yeah, that is the basics of the team. I do think there are a couple of alternatives that we could go for, so I want to throw them on screen now. So in goal, we've got Pope and Kepa. Like, Pope and Newcastle putting up good defensive numbers. They just can't seem to keep a clean sheet. But, you know, they play against Leicester. It's a good fixture, and Newcastle do really need to, secure the final few points. So you could possibly go for Pope. Kepa, if you have him still, you know, you could think about starting him, I guess. I think on a free hit, I would be willing to do like a Kepa-Mendy combo, have both Kepa and Mendy. But honestly, Chelsea fans, let me know in the comments, who do you think is the better pick? Who do you think is going to start for Chelsea? Or do you think they're going to have one game each? From what I saw from Mendy, I don't think that he is a particularly better option than Kepa. I actually think Kepa is kind of a little bit of an underrated, well, maybe underappreciated goalkeeper, really. So I imagine that he does come back in for Chelsea in goal, but I have no way of guaranteeing that, I guess. In defence, guys, I've got Trent Alexander-Arnold here as definitely an alternative for Diaz. I know he's got a single game week, and I know it's against Aston Villa, but Trent has just been on absolute flames recently. So I definitely can see him as a real decent, kind of alternative to that third Man City player. I think if there's any team that, aside from Chelsea, obviously, if there's any double game week team that I don't think you need to triple up on, it is Man City. I think the Man United triple up and the Brighton triple up are essential. I don't think you need to triple up on Man City. So Trent, maybe a decent defender to come in there instead of Diaz. I've got Kanji here as well, if you fancy him. He seems to be reasonably nailed on, particularly whilst Ake is out of the team. In midfield alternatives, we've got Gundogan, as we kind of mentioned earlier. If you want to go for Gundogan instead of Mahrez, totally okay. Definitely understand why some people would prefer to go that way and try and chase the form of an overperforming player. Kaldwin Mitoma, we've mentioned before, if you want to play safe with your Brighton players, he's definitely the guy to go for. I've got Harry Kane as an alternative to Salah here, and I know they don't play in the same position, but it's going to be difficult to get both Kane and Salah into this same team. Some of you guys will be able to do it, obviously, if you've got a decent amount of wedge, but Harry Kane just super reliable, and if you don't fancy Salah against Aston Villa, Kane against Brentford at home is not the worst in the world, and Kane is, you know, he just scores points every week. So in many ways, Kane is a really safe pick if you just want to get points on the scoreboard. But I would be interested to know, guys, if you had a choice for Game Week 37 only, who would you pick, Kane or Salah? I have a feeling most of you guys are going to say Salah because he scored the most points recently, but I don't think we should write off Kane entirely. I've got Ødegaard as a midfield replacement for Salah as well. I think if we're looking at other single game week midfielders, I think Ødegaard will be up there in terms of the best single game week kind of midfielders to go for, but yeah, I don't know. That's kind of up to you. Up front, we've got Wilson and Alvarez as your Enciso alternatives. Alvarez, I think, is one of the Man City players or Man City attackers that is more likely to get minutes in the double game week, more likely to get a decent amount of minutes, but I don't know. There's no safe Man City player this week. We know that very well, but Alvarez may be worth a punt. And Wilson, definitely not safe for minutes either, but he plays against Leicester, and Leicester have been absolutely humiliated recently. Isak, of course, is another player who you could go for from Newcastle if you just want to try and attack that Leicester fixture with your Newcastle players. But honestly, guys, at least until after Thursday evening's game, I have no clue who's going to be starting against Leicester. Is it going to be Wilson or Isak? I don't know. Will it be both? It could be that as well. Who knows, guys, honestly. But yeah, I think a Wilson or Isak punt could work out really well. It's just about nailing which one of the two actually gets the minutes. So a bit of a risky one again there, but there's lots of risks. At this stage of the season, rotation is going to be heavy. It's a difficult stage of the season. A lot of players are risky, so do bear that in mind. And finally, we do need to talk about captaincy. So I'm going to stick the captain's armband straight on Erling Haaland. I think he is the safe, super obvious captain for the double game week. But do not underrate Bruno Fernandes, who I'm sticking the vice captain on. I think if you want to go for a differential captain this week, Bruno Fernandes seems to be very, very obviously the guy to go for. Amazing kind of form recently. I know he hasn't got FPL points necessarily, but watch him play, and that is a player on form. He's got amazing fixtures, Bournemouth and Chelsea, and he has also got so much to play for as well. So lots of really positive signs pointing us towards Bruno Fernandes at the moment. I'm thinking about captaining him myself. I'm not sure if I'm brave enough, but maybe a few of you guys are. Again, another thing I'd like you guys to let me know. Are you brave enough to captain someone other than Erling Haaland? And if so, who is it? Is it Bruno Fernandes, or do you actually fancy someone slightly different instead? Be interested to know, guys. Right, that's the end of this one, guys. If you did enjoy, please do drop a like. Do subscribe if you are new around here as well. We've already got 3 videos on the channel for Game Week 37 so far, excluding this one. So do go check them out if you want a little bit more Game Week 37 content. Aside from that, guys, I'll be back with the 100 Experts video tomorrow, slightly later in the week than usual. But I wanted to kind of get a little bit more information before we run that particular video of the week. And team selection on Friday when we've got all of the information. So there we go, guys. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.